All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another market open. Unfortunately, there's a stupid delay, so that's what's gonna mess. Look, I'm on YouTube right now, and it's still not live. That's the issue here. That's why my market open is like a minute late. It's still not live. There it goes. Now it's live. It's so annoying, bro. Like, it's so annoying. I'm just like, why is this? So I think I'm gonna ring the bell today at 9:29, and hopefully for you guys it'll be 9:30. Like, that's all I can do. That's all I can do in this situation. How is everybody? I hope you guys are doing good. Mark the Gulf Attic, I see you in the chat. First comment, Palantir to the moon. I love it. Another contract today, another red day for all Palantir. It might be red for Palantir, but to me, the stock price does not reflect the reality of the company. Let's look into this. I'm going to do another video about this a little bit later as well. Here we go. Palantir selected for a $90 million 5-year HHS contract vehicle. So HHS is the Department of Health and Human Services, and we know they got this contract because I did a video about this literally a couple of days ago, saying that Palantir gets a $90 million contract. And that was predicting that they get a $90 million. Well, it wasn't predicting. It was just showing that from a governmental website right here that they got a $90 million contract. So now it became official news today. This $90 million BPA will allow HHS officials across the department's many agencies and missions to select the Palantir platform to support their work. Palantir's built-in data protection features, innovative technology, and common security framework were deemed well-positioned to address critical technology across the HHS. Again, I'm going to go deeper into this in another video, but as you can see, they ordered the order of under the contract was obtained in a 10.5 month multi-million-dollar contract to support their core administrative data and applications. So when they're trying to come up with a vertically integrated platform with various agencies in the United States government, they're trying to build out ecosystems where these administrations can use them for a variety of different tools. 90 million for a lot of you are going to be like, well, it's, you know, they're the $20 billion company. 90 million is nothing. It's not about the number per se. It's more so about the fact that they're able to secure deals in this environment with everything that's going on, for them to still be the leader in getting these contracts and closing the deal. And I know how difficult it is to close deals because closing the deals are not easy. You know, the fact that they're able to get it done is actually very, very important. Sam A, hello in the chat. Dexter, yo, Amit is legit. I appreciate you, Dexter, for saying I'm legit. Always trying to just be legit, as always. Let's go to the main area for Webull and see what we've got going on here. So Palantir is up basically by nothing in pre-market, pretty flat. Tesla is down a little bit in pre-market, 904. Currently, ARK is at 49. I mean, ARK's pretty flat. Roku's 103. They rebounded from 95 or whatever. But like the market in general, the past couple of days has been relatively flat. And as a result of them being relatively flat, nothing has changed too much. Now, we do have the Fed meeting today, the FOMC. You said turn mic up. Let me make sure the mic is up. The mic. Oh, hold on. I think I know why the mic's not up. 1 second. The Fed FOMC. Oh, no, the mic is. Oh, yeah, the mic is down. Thank you for saying that. The mic was super down. The Fed FOMC meeting is going to be very, very important. And we are going to talk sort of about what my thoughts are on that. I have another video coming out on the FOMC meeting at 11 a.m. So you guys will get to know my thoughts there. But the ultimate thing is, are they going to raise interest rates to an unhealthy level? Someone says, I saw in a previous video you have a Discord, but I couldn't find the link. The Discord is attached to my Patreon. It's $5 a month. So Jack, the link is in the description for this video. You can check it out there. Now, let's talk a little bit about the FOMC meeting. What we're expecting at the FOMC meeting, it's incredibly important if you're investing right now or you're thinking of deploying cash to sort of see how you can play what's going to go on. We're expecting a 50 basis points interest rates hike. Now, if that's 75, which I really doubt it's going to be, but if it is, that would be really bad because the market has not baked that in. We have baked in 50. More so than 50 versus 75, it's really a question of what Jerome Powell is going to say. That's what matters. What is Jerome Powell going to say? Is he going to say that inflation is getting worse? Is he going to say that he doesn't see things getting better? Is he going to say the supply chains are getting worse? Is he saying that, look, the market is still kind of overvalued even though stocks are down, 70, 80%? Because those words from that man dictate the very essence and trajectory of the stock market. It is that simple. And as we see, SPY is pretty flat as well, 416. We almost touched 300s. We had 405 the other day on SPY, so SPY had a nice little rebound. If Jay Powell does not acknowledge that things are getting better, or he insinuates things may be getting worse, then the market's going to react to that in real time. And I'm not going to be able to live stream it. I know other people are live streaming it, but you will literally see stocks go up or down based on the comments that he has. And it's going to be interesting to kind of see ultimately how that plays out today. Good morning, Amit. Great content as always. You and Tom should live stream Palantir earnings. We are doing that May 9th, I think 8 a.m. on Tom's channel. I will be there. Chris Patel will be there with us as well. We will be live streaming that earnings. So definitely make sure you guys are there. Opinions on Microsoft. Microsoft is a great company. There's no real opinions on it, to be honest. I mean, their stock is a bit flat, but they crushed earnings. I mean, you kind of can't go wrong with this company. If you look at the chat, or it's not the chat, the chart. Obviously, the chart looks phenomenal, but like this is when, was it 2019? Yeah, 2016 is when they acquired LinkedIn, and that's when they were relatively flat. I mean, they weren't doing that much. 2016, they had new leadership, and that's when you see this propulsion all the way to the top, $340 in November 2021, which is a bit pricey. I remember Microsoft at $205. I was buying it, and then I sold it, but Microsoft is doing what it's doing there. AMD, we got to talk a little bit about AMD. Let me pull up the link real quick for it. AMD earnings was really good, like really, really good. Sales jumped 71%. They beat EPS by 117%, and they beat revenue by 71%, right? 5.89 billion bucks. AMD is a company that's led by a rock star CEO, and that's her right there, Lisa Su. And they are accelerated due to the pandemic kind of demand for microchips, and that's mainly what they sell, right? These micro devices. So you could see the fact that they've been able to, still sustain increased revenue growth, even though people think the pandemic PC boom is over. Now, if supply chains are still bad, then obviously manufacturers are going to need a lot more micro devices, right? A lot more chips, which kind of can accelerate their business. But they're trading at a 7 price to sales, so it's not investors have always said AMD and Nvidia is kind of expensive. It's not the most expensive company in the world if you factor in the level of growth that they're having. Is it the time to buy? I would hold off a little bit, because after a good earnings, in this market, it doesn't really matter too much, right? Like, you could have a great, we saw what happened with Tesla earnings. Like, look at this. They were at 164 at their height. They had a great earnings yesterday. They're up, 7% in pre-market, but how long is that going to last? I don't know. That is the question. How long will it be able to last? Morning, Quarantined Quartet. People sleep on AMD long, but yeah, I definitely think if you're long, it's great. It's just a question of what's entry price do you fully want to get in there. Now it's 9:27. I'm going to ring the bell at 9:29 because of this stupid delay that exists. So I will make sure that I at least ring the bell open, and hope, guys, don't kill me if the bell doesn't land right on time. I'm going to do it at 9:29, and I think it'll land at 9:30 on the dot. I hope. I got to figure out this stupid delay thing. But yeah, AMD crushed earnings. Now, what didn't crush earnings was Lyft. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Palantir Long, good morning, everybody. Wakey and Bakey. Do you like Azure or AWS more for cloud? I like AWS because I have a startup and we use AWS. So AWS in our back end is it's really crucial. It's also really simple. Like, I'm someone who doesn't know that much about technology in terms of coding the actual stuff, but when I talk to my co-founder and he walks me through what goes on in AWS, it's very simple. It's like you can understand it even as a non-technical person when someone walks you through it and talks about it with you. So AWS to me is pretty good. There's geopolitical risk with AMD due to their Taiwan production. Yeah, but there's always been geopolitical risks with Taiwan. It's like I don't know if that's the biggest risk in the world necessarily. Stocks are pretty green, though. Stocks are pretty green from what we're seeing. Average is 58. Not bad. 58 average on AMD is pretty good. All right, here we go. Let's see if this works. Wake your ass up. It is time to open the market. And boom, we are here. Let's see what we got as I wait for 30 seconds for it to open. I hope we pulled it off, guys. I hope it works. Let me know in the chat if it worked. If it didn't, if it was an epic fail, then that's okay. But let's see if it happens. All right, here we go. Let's see if this works. I'm watching myself do it right now. I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work. Come on, give me 9:30. Give me 9:30. Give me 9:30. Okay, maybe that was a little bit early, but regardless. Stocks are pretty much opening up right now. We are looking at what this is, what's happening. Boom, baby. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Okay. I definitely rang it too early. That's okay. I think there's like a 25-second delay versus 40. I missed 40, so we'll do that again next time. All right. Stocks are live. It's green. It's green. It's green. It's green. It's not that crazy. I mean, there's red, but it's very little red. It's like barely anything. Barely anything. Yeah, 20 seconds early. 110 people here. Thank you for being here in the chat. I appreciate you. Let's go into Twitter. Let's check out how Twitter's doing. Twitter is at $48.93. Twitter is still, Twitter. It's not that amazing for Twitter. The market still assumes that this deal is not getting done, apparently. We were going to talk about Elon Musk. I know I put him in the title. We're going to talk about him in a second. But that's Twitter. Palantir. Stocks are very flat today. Oh, my. I mean, there's zero action going on. It was pretty on time for me, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for being here. I appreciate you being here, and I'm happy that it was on time for you. Let's look at the Fed rate hikes news. I believe that there is some news. Fed rate hikes. Is it out? Do we have a decision? I don't think we have a decision on it yet. Well, yeah, we're not going to have a decision until the meeting, right? So we're going to have to see till then. But we're expected 50 basis points, right? I mean, that's what we're expecting. Oh, Uber's earnings. Boom. Let's check out Uber. This goes well into my Lyft conversation because we were going to talk about Lyft anyway. Let's go into the market real quick to check a little bit more, and then we'll see what's going on with everything else. Green Day, I think we have CPI rate figures. The uncertainty goes away and we get the relief rally. I don't know if we get the relief rally immediately, but I do think if the uncertainty goes away, there's a chance for the relief rally. Netflix is still struggling. Stocks are really flat. I mean, AMD is up, but that's because they had earnings. Look at this. It's like 0.1%. Look at the red. 0.99, 0.92. Google is flat. I mean, like Google moved barely anything. Like, this is a flat day in the market. Oh my. Where's Bitcoin? Because when things are flat, Bitcoin should be going crazy, right? What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin is relatively flat as well. I mean, it's itching up towards 39,000, but it is also relatively flat. Everything is relatively flat. Morning, NFT Gaming, thank you for being here. The calm before the FOMC. So yeah, I think that's what's going on. Like, the market is just like, we're not buying or selling anything until we hear from Jay Powell. We're not buying or selling anything until we hear from that guy and what he's doing with our money. That's it. Everybody's afraid. That is correct. Everyone is afraid. So let's look at Uber earnings since the market is so boring. Uber on Wednesday reported surging revenue during the first quarter of the rideshare company. Confirms coronavirus loss. They had a net loss of $5.9 billion, which was primarily due to its equity investments in Grab, Aurora, and Diddy. Yeah, if you don't know this, Uber invested in a bunch of Uber-like companies outside of the United. Wow, Uber's down 8%. Uber's just been a horrible stock. I mean, they IPO'd at $40 in 2019, and like they just haven't been able to figure it out. Loss per share 18 cents versus 24 cents, so they beat on that. Revenue $6.85 billion versus $6.3 billion. So they made $6 billion. Anticipates gross bookings of between 28 and 29 billion. Now, the thing to understand about Uber, it's not just a company that delivers you food. Look at this. Breaking news from CNBC. Of course, it's breaking. Stocks are flat as traders anticipate a half-point rate hike from the Fed. That's breaking news, baby. The Uber company does something very basic, right? Which is they connect a driver with mobility and they connect you with food or alcohol or whatever else they sell you. But the real growth story to Uber is Uber Freight, in my opinion. This idea that they're creating a Shipix logistics infrastructure platform that other companies can use to be able to deliver goods and services, along with Uber Air. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this stuff, but Uber Air is like pretty cool. It's called Uber Elevate. Announced 22. Oh, they sold this? Announced December 2020, Joby Aviation will acquire Uber Elevate. The two parent companies have agreed to integrate their respective services into each other's apps. This deal allows Uber to deepen our partnership with Joby. So Uber Elevate, I mean, it's still going to be a thing, but Joby is going to be facilitating this. This is basically, you want to get from Los Angeles to San Francisco, instead of a 6-hour plane ride, you get on Uber Elevate, right? That's how I've always understand it. Or if they want to sell things through the sky, not sell things, but more so transfer things to other people, right? That's what Uber Elevate was. Maybe transfer different goods and services or whatever. So Lyft, on the other hand, did horrible. Lyft cannot find drivers. They dropped 25% in after hours. I mean, look at this stock. Now it's down 29%. Look at this. They IPO'd at 75, got to 88 in 2019. Uber IPO'd a couple months after them. and now they're at $21. I mean, goodness gracious. Like, but and look, this was the drop rate. The drop right here is that they can't find drivers. Like they just can't find people to actually drive the car. Like they have a demand issue in here, or not a supply issue here. So that's not really the best. Breaking news: Jim Cramer eats hot dog. Sarah says, what could happen to Uber with Tesla's robotaxi? Yeah, that's another argument, right? So if Tesla is able to make a robotaxi, I mean, you're talking about something that theoretically puts Uber out of business. Now, the way I think it would work is that Uber would just buy a bunch of electric cars that are smart. I mean, like, to me, imagine if Tesla just bought Uber or something, or like Uber bought a bunch of Teslas, which is great for Tesla, and they integrated their own robo-taxis. Like, Tesla's not going to be the only robo-taxi service in the world if robo-taxis become a thing a decade from now. Like, I'm sure there's going to be other people facilitating that. Uber could be that. Also, robo-taxis are just a long way away, so until then, people still need to get drivers, which is why Uber is going to be in business. But if robo-taxis become big and Tesla's become exponential in terms of the scale that they have, you probably wouldn't call a driver on Uber. I mean, you would, but it would just be significantly lower than calling a Tesla, right? That would be the way that it works. Let's get back into some of this stuff right here. I assume there's a weight limit price per pound for those small aircrafts. Yes, there definitely has to be. How do you feel going into Q1, Palantir? I mean, not the best, because I know we're going to miss on EPS. Like, I know we're going to miss on EPS because the SPAC losses are really bad. I've been saying this the past couple of days. So as a result of that, we're going to miss on EPS, which means that the market and the algorithms are going to sell us off. The question is, how badly do we beat on revenue? I don't think we beat like crazy. I think we're projected to maybe 460 million in revenue. If we do that, that's great. Now, if we come in with like 500 million, then we're going to have a pop, because then the market's going to be like, oh shoot, there is demand for this company in the market. But when is that going to happen? I don't know. No clue. If we go into the recession for the next year, do you think Palantir could get to like 4? Maybe. I mean, Palantir could definitely get lower than this. But if Palantir gets to 4, that means SPY is probably, unless Palantir screws up earnings, which I don't think they're going to be able to. I mean, I don't think that's happening. SPY would have to be down in the 300s for Palantir to be at 4, right? Netflix would be trading at like $100 if that happened. Like, there will be a market sell-off of epic proportions if Palantir's at 4 because of the market. Now, Palantir is at 4 because of their crappy earnings. That could happen. They're not a company that does bad on earnings. Now, they've only been a public company for a year and a half, but they've beat on revenue every single time. They beat on earnings every single time except for earnings per share, and that's when the SPACs were down. So to me, it's unlikely that Palantir has that bad of a quarter. Like, it would just be kind of weird if that happened. Especially given all the deals they had. I mean, their net dollar retention is insane, right? So for those who aren't here, we have some new news today that Palantir just got a $90 million contract, 5-year contract, right? They're increasing their net dollar retention from their existing clients, or even the new client. Now, HHS, I believe they worked with before, so it's an existing client, but they're just getting more money from there. EPS doesn't mean anything. I agree, it doesn't. The problem is markets and algorithms to think that it does mean something. So as soon as there's a beat on something, markets are like, oh, there's a beat, or there's a miss, there's a beat. We need to sell off the stock, even though it literally, I mean, price to sales, price to earnings would mean anything more than that. U.S. companies added 247,000 jobs in April. Okay, so we have some job reporting. U.S. companies, I've reached my article limit. U.S. 247,000. I had Bloomberg before, but then they started charging me too much. I'm like, bro, I don't care that much. I kept telling you don't sleep on AMD, man. I mean, I've never said AMD was a bad stock. I personally didn't buy it, but AMD's legit. This was below expectations of a gain of 395,000. So people thought we were going to get 395,000 jobs. We added 247,000. Notably, employment among small businesses fell by 120,000, while large businesses added 321,000 workers. In April, the labor market recovery showed signs of a slowing economy approaches full employment. A record 11.5 million jobs available at the end of March. So if you want to get a job right now, there's 11.5 million options that exist. The Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates by Wednesday by 50 basis points, twice the increase it approved in March, an aggressive move to try to stem runaway inflation. Look, I mean, to be honest, if inflation is that bad, I can't disagree with the Fed increasing basis points by that high. And I think the good thing is the market has baked it in. Like, if we're going to do quantitative tightening, if we're going to take away $95 billion from the economy, if we're going to start raising interest rates, and inflation will go down, it's going to help us long term. And I think the market is getting ready to bake it in at the end of the day. Like, it seems like the market is baking it in, which means if the market is baking it in, we should have the ability to just not have to necessarily be so scared of what's going to happen. I mean, that's kind of what it seems like is going to happen. If it was not for you, I would have never bought and hold my Palantir. Got it at 21.43, trying to get my cost down. So basically, you're blaming me for buying Palantir. Look, man. I mean, I feel what you're saying. I understand. The thing is, you got to know what you hold, right? And if you bought it because you watched one video and I sounded convincing, but you didn't really do your due diligence, at the end of the day, that's an individual choice. And I sleep like a baby at night with Palantir. I really do. I don't even want to sound overly excited when I say that, because I feel like I'm faking it. Like, I genuinely don't care that the price is down. Like, the whole market is down, and I know what I hold with Palantir. And there's this thing about life where it's like, you can't expect to make big money if you're not willing to go through volatility. You just can't. And I know this personally because someone said, I just got a job, 6 figures, fully remote. The jobs are out there. Absolutely awesome, Mike. Can you tell us what the job is? Can you tell us what industry it's in? That'd be dope. That's awesome. I know this because I have a startup, and now we're raising money for the startup. If anyone's interested, there is a crowdfund that's launching. You guys can email me at amit@dailypalantir.com if you guys want the pitch deck, any info. We're at about $190,000 raised. We're looking to get to about $500,000 by the end of June. And there were days, 4 or 5 months ago, where I didn't want to wake up in the morning, because I didn't know how to do stuff, right? I didn't know how to get things done. I didn't know how to get legal stuff done, or technical stuff done, or product stuff done, or, there's just all these issues, right? And eventually you just keep going and you figure it out if you believe in yourself. And I think it's the same with investing. And now we're at the point where we're actually raising money, and we're actually, potentially going to change the world if we build this company to be big. And I think it's the same thing with investing. If you're holding on to a company that you believe in, like Tesla, right? The people that actually got it when it was down here in 2020, or down here in 2019, or most of them that were in 2017 when it was $70, they're benefiting off of it now because they knew what they held back then. Either Palantir goes to the moon or it doesn't. It's really that binary. And in life, you've got to decide if you want to get on the rocket ship to go to the moon, to have a chance to go to the moon, or you want to sit on the sidelines forever. That's it. That's all that matters. Govinda says, why did you sleep on AMD? I told you weeks ago to buy it when it was at 87. I did not have money to buy it. I'm not buying anything right now, so it's not really sleeping on AMD. It's also, man, it's at 95. Like, I mean, 87 to 95 is great, but I'm not like, oh my God, I missed out on it, right? Like, I'll be a portfolio manager for a real estate startup, property management, been in the industry for 70. That's awesome, Mike. I'm so happy for you. It's great stuff. Homie, you're down 20K. I would have night terrors about that. Guy, like, this is weird, guys. This is interesting. I mean, that's not the way to think about investing. There are people that I know that are in Palantir that are down hundreds of thousands of dollars. And not just Palantir, and just any, like, general stocks. This is not the time to be... first of all, there's 2 elements to this. Number one, if you can afford to lose that money, meaning you don't need that $20,000, for example, to pay your rent, which I don't, because I'm a bit responsible with my money. I put money into I mean, I've been saying this for the past month. I have not put more money into the market. I have 64 grand in the market, and I'm down 20 grand. So I have about I'm down 30 grand now, because Palantir is at 10, right? The money that I have in the market that I've lost, it will come back, but I have to be patient for it. But I also don't need that money to pay rent, or to pay my car insurance, or to do this or do that, because I haven't been putting more money into the market, because I've been keeping it in my accounts, right? So it's like, number one, you got to be financially responsible. And number two, it's just like, you don't sell now. Like, if you're down 30K, you're like, all right, I'll wait till it comes back. Because you think Palantir is going to be at $10.33 for the next 4 or 5 years? I don't think so. So it's not worth, like, you have to have a life outside of stocks, right? Your stocks are your personal investments. It happens. I was talking to a guy who invested in my startup yesterday. He's investing 5,000. He's about 25, 26. And he's like down. He lost half his net worth on a cryptocurrency in paper losses, but he was up double his net worth like 3 months ago on that same cryptocurrency. And he sleeps like a baby, because he's like, I believe in this coin. I know what I'm doing. So it's all about conviction at the end of the day. It's all about conviction. Palantir Long says, Jack, I'm down $250,000, but what you put into the market, you should always think you can lose it all, but I guarantee that $250,000 will flip into a total profit by the end of the year. Yeah, it might end up flipping into a total profit, and if it doesn't, you might end up just waiting till it comes back. It is very... Guys, you got to remember this thing about the bull market. It is just... Look, Palantir's down at 1030 right now. Stocks are going down a little bit more. It is very unlikely for this to continue in the next 4 to 5 years. I saw this picture yesterday. Man, I wish did I save it? Oh, I think I saved it. It was such a great picture. And it showed when the S&P went down 15%. Oh, here it is. I got it. I'm going to actually send it on my Gmail right now. Hold on. Let me send it right now. I'm going to pull it up. I think this will give everyone a little bit more ease looking at how stocks rebound. When there is a bear market, it is usually followed by a massive rebound. And the reason it's followed by a massive rebound is because stocks don't stay low forever. So here we go. NASDAQ Composite, worst months in forward returns. So let's look at this. We've got October 1987. Hold on, let me just zoom in correctly. Okay, there we go. 1987, we were down 27%. Within 5 years, we were up 87%. Within 3 months, 7%, 16 months, 6 months, 17%, 1 year, 18%. We're here April 2022. We're down 13% and we don't know what's going to happen, right? That was one of the worst months. Another one, November 2000, down 22%. The next 5 years, it was still pretty bad, but you were down 14%. That was the dot-com bubble. February 01, same thing, 2000, 2001. 98, down 19%, up 83% a year later. October 2008, down 17%, up 19% a year later. And then 128% 5 years later. So if you just look at this, right, over the next couple of years, and first of all, next couple of months, and then eventually 1, 3, and 5 year horizons, we're down 13%. We will likely come back to where we should be. Along with that, this is a midterm election year, and the average S&P decline on a midterm election year is 15%, and the decline is 7%. The rebound is 15%. I did a video about this back in January. So we've got midterm elections already causing uncertainty. We've got inflation. We've got supply chains, and the sentiment is so low. Stocks are so beaten up that when things start moving in the right direction, we've already seen it with a couple of small little rallies. I think it's going to be explosive, and I think a lot of people agree with me, including Jim Cramer and Tom Lee. I know you guys have your opinions on whatever you think about them, but a lot of people really do think that this is not just the right time to kind of just sell and be scared. I had an email web because they went in there and tried to make. Oh, okay, Dave, let me know if there's any issues from that. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, Dave, let me know if anything goes on for that. See, I'm the opposite. I'm a student and I'm using my student loan to trade and invest instead of nourishment. Okay, Jack. See, that's the issue, Jack. You can't be using your student loan to invest. I mean, because if you screw up your that's like me taking the investor money that I've raised, which is about 190 grand, and me putting it into, I don't know, I think Twitter at 48 because Twitter is going to go to 54. So let's do the math on that. Let's do the math on that real quick. If I take the money I raised for my startup, that's 190,000, right? Divided by 48. That number times 5420. So that's what we did. I would make 214,000. So I would make 34,000 bucks on that money. Now, you could do that. But if Twitter goes to crap, that's not going to be good. Additionally, people probably don't want to give you money when they think they're investing in you and a startup, and then you go put it into the market. Like that's pretty unethical, and I believe it's illegal as well. So like I say that example to say if you do that with your student loans and it goes to crap, it could be really bad. Now, granted, Chris Sacca is a guy who did that with his student loans, and he made a couple million off that. But that is not a good example because he then lost a couple million, and he spent a lot of time paying it off. He's a famous angel investor. So I wouldn't recommend taking money you're not supposed to have and then doing that. That's just not good. Jimmy Trey, you say, where can you get your pitch deck? Email me, amit@dailypalantir.com, and I'll send you all that. I'll send you the information. So, yeah, guys, I mean, like, this is just not the time to panic to me. Like, this is, like, why? What is the panic? Like, seriously, what's the point of panicking? I mean, this is the stock market, baby. This is where you make money and you lose money, but over time, you get more than you take. Facebook at 209, that's looking pretty beautiful right now. I mean, to be honest, Facebook at 209 is nice. It was at 180, 170. It's had a pretty nice rebound from where it was at. Amazon is still in the gutter. I mean, Amazon's been trucked. I mean, like, we're going to need a macro market for things to go a little bit better. Isn't Biden forgiving student loans? So Biden is forgiving about I think 10,000 for people who make 125,000 or less. It's not official yet, but that's what they're considering. So it's not going to be all of it, but it should be a chunk of it is what I think is going on. T-Doc, There we go, $37. There's Teladoc. Teladoc is trying to make a little bit of a comeback, as we can see. Spotify's at 107, as we can see from here. I read an article the other day about Spotify that was not the best for Spotify. But as you can see, even, Spotify's rebounding as well. It was at like 98 last week. So when things get a little bit more bullish, stocks just tend to... I've noticed a lot of this stuff is just algorithms. Like, the bear thesis for Spotify was the same 2 weeks ago when I outlined it on this live stream. But Spotify's up, 10%. And it's like nothing has really changed. In fact, their quarter was really bad. Like, they had a pretty bad earnings, in my opinion. I mean, it's like investors were not impressed by it at all. And the Netflix comparisons were pretty real. So to me, the fundamental question is like, why is their stock up? Well, it's markets. It's just literally algorithms. Like, why is Tesla at 907 when it was at 850? It's just an algorithm. Like, so much of this stuff is done without our control, and that's just how it happens. Amit, what's your upcoming business idea? Again, email me, amit@dailypalantir.com. I will talk a lot about it on the channel in the next couple of weeks as I begin making it more public. It is in the audio space, though, so it'll be exciting. It's in the audio content space. When you are returned in the stock market, it isn't free money. You are compensated for the risk. That is such a good point, Eric. That is such a good point. When you put money in the stock market, it's not a return that's just like, oh, you just got free money. You took a risk. You bet on a company, right? You said, hey, I'm putting money in this company at this price, and I believe their stock price will appreciate as a result of them being able to use my capital that's from a public shareholder to then grow the business. And so the nature of the stock market is so interesting because if companies aren't growing, then your capital is not growing, which is why algorithms and hedge funds, et cetera, they sell when they see a lack of growth. Which is why being a public company, I've thought about, if I could take a company public before, and it's always been like kind of weird to me because it's like, first of all, you can't speak. Unless you're Elon Musk, you don't get freedom of speech if you're a public company. I mean, as a public company, you're going to be not talking. I mean, everything you say is going to be going through, lawyers and stuff. But the other thing is like, you have to show growth. Like every quarter, you have to show important growth. And so like, if you're a company that's public, you really have to be able to hit those numbers. Because if you don't, the market just does not care. Just does not care. Anyone see the hyperchange VC fund Gally is creating? Yeah, Joseph, I see you'll email me when I get off work. Awesome. Looking forward to your email, Joseph. What was I going to say? Anyone see the hyperchange VC? Yeah, so Gally from Hyperchange is also making a VC fund. Gally, if you know, he invested in Tesla and Ethereum early. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are doing creative things with money, right? Gally really likes investing in startups. I've actually been trying to get in contact with him. He responded to one of my tweets, but we couldn't get anything set up. But Golly's an interesting guy. He's interesting, for those who know him from Hyperchange. He's definitely a person I would imagine will invest in some interesting startups. Ethereum, 2,800. Who has Ethereum? I had a good conversation with a crypto guy about 2 days ago for 2 hours, and he explained to me what Ethereum really is, and I got a chance to understand it a little bit more. Palantir Long says, I'm super proud of you, not even knowing you, but being your age and your status that you raised all that money. It's great. I appreciate you, Palantir Long. It means the world to me. It's offer Joe Rogan in a blunt and 420, and you might just steal him away from Spotify. Well, so the startup I'm creating... the whole idea is not to have a Joe Rogan type of figure. And what I mean by that is not from his content. What I mean by that is like, I really am not in love with this idea of paying people for content and then just like having them be on your platform and then charging people a subscription to access like the platform. Like, did you guys ever hear of this startup called Wondery? I don't think they're doing like, they're not that crazy. Wondery funding. Let's see how much money. I think these guys raised like $100 million or something. They raised $15 million. Okay, so they were the first company trying to be the Netflix of podcasts. Yeah, 2016. That's when podcasts were soon. This is Crunchbase.com. It's a website where you can see funding. They raised $15 million from some pretty the Graycroft. I know these guys. So they raised from some pretty decent investors, and it's like no one cares about the Netflix of podcasts, right? Like what? And that when Spotify going down that route to me is like so boring. It's like, no one cares about this, bro. Like, they get all these exclusive shows, Wondery Premium, and they're like, it's just like content is such a commodity at this stage. It's not interesting to me to buy shows and then sell it from there. Like, I don't get it. It's not that interesting to me. So, yeah, the idea is not to get like a Joe Rogan exclusive deal. Ethereum, people are saying in the chat, bro, when you use Ethereum, you'll be paying $80 to $100 in transaction fees just to use it. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. And Vitalik, the CEO of, or the founder of Ethereum, came out the other day and said, we need to get the fees to be down to like 5 cents in order for it to make sense. So ETH, the major problem with it is these gas fees. And I don't know how you solve that. I don't know. You got to ultimately figure that out. But that is the situation with ETH. What do y'all think of SoFi? Let's go. Theo says, love a good audio idea. I do as well, Theo. By the way, Theo, if you have any questions at all, email me. I'll give you some updates soon. But I think you get my updates every day because you're listening to me, Theo, on the live stream. But if you have any questions, let me know at all. What do y'all think of SoFi? SoFi is down at $6.29. Look, man, SoFi, Open Door, Palantir. To me, it's like, could all three of those 3x, 4x in the next couple of years? I mean, when the bull market happens, anything is possible. The one thing I will say about the bull market is SoFi, Open Door, they got to $30-$35 when it was, really good. I don't know if we see those valuations again that easily. Same thing with Palantir at $40, right? I think it takes a much more longer time to get there unless they just perform exceptionally well. But I don't think the market is going to give them the valuations that they want. Like, this is the one thing to understand about interest rates. The market is not going to give forward multiples of earnings that they gave in 2021 ever again, I think, for the next 5-6 years. It's just not going to happen. The companies actually have to produce phenomenal earnings to get those multiples. Like in 2021, anything got it because the market was just frothy. Anything got it. Wish. Do you guys remember Wish? That stupid company. Okay, I shouldn't say it's a stupid company, but like, I don't know why anyone would buy anything off this thing. They also sponsored the Lakers, by the way, which made me so upset because I saw LeBron James wearing a Wish logo. I'm like, why is this guy wearing a Wish logo? But this store that just sells Chinese nonsense, they were at $30 a share. And it's like, bruh, I don't know what they're at now, but it's not $30 a share. Like, the fact that those companies could get it. And all they did was run Facebook ads. That's it. Let's go to their website traffic. They probably have millions of people coming to them. Look at this, 29 million people. You get random people on Facebook scrolling through their ads that click on it. And then boom, you've got people that are buying random stuff. It's like, that's just how it is. Amit, what do you think of Wejo? Wejo's a great company. I also did a interview with their CEO. Just go to my YouTube, type in Amit Wejo CEO. I'm not buying their stock. I've said this very clearly. I am buying Palantir stock because I want Palantir to get exposure to the SPACs. Palantir to me is like an ETF for the SPACs. But at that point, I'm not going to actually buy the stocks. Amid Palantir now close to IPO price, do you think it's possible it will drop below $10? Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, let's look at it right now. It's like $10.27, right? I feel like we're so scared for it to drop. And I'm like, to me, if you have a long-term horizon, this is not scary. This is like, all right, I'll load up more. That's it. This is what, I mean, let's look at Apple in 2010. Let's actually look at Apple in 2010. Here we go. Okay, Apple at 2010, here we go, was $9. Today is $160. That's very close to a 20x. Look at this. Apple in 2009 was at $3. Now, this is adjusted per split, right? So it's the equivalent of $3 today. So if you saw Apple at $3 in 2009 after they just released the most magnificent device on the planet like the iPhone, and you didn't get how revolutionary that was going to be, you wouldn't have bought it at $3. And then a couple years later, you wouldn't have bought it at $33. And then you wouldn't have bought it at $50. Like, it just, like, now they're at $160. So this is the type of chart we're looking at. Now you might be thinking Apple is not a Palantir. Well, the question is, of course not. Apple's a $3 trillion company almost now. Palantir's a $20 billion company. Do you think Palantir can get to a $200 billion company? Do you think they can get to a $250 billion company? If you think they can, then this chart is going to look very similar to Palantir. And you're going to be wishing that you got it when it was $3 equivalently. But now the risk is, will that happen? And either you are going to be wishing that you bought it low because you think it's going to happen, or you don't have conviction, which means don't buy it. Then sleep well at night. If it goes to 9 or if it goes to 8, that's not a concern because you already know what the end game is. It's kind of like, to me, if in my startup, I know what the end game is. Like, I know what's going to happen at the end, so I'm not really that scared. Dave, yeah, there's another company. Yeah, there's another company with that name. We're different because we have the .io. We also talked to a lawyer about it. It's not that big of a deal. They sell speakers. We sell software, we are a platform, so it's a bit different. If it hits 2, I would definitely be a little nervous. Yeah, if it hits 2, guys, remember, if Palantir hits $2, the whole market goes to crap. it's not just Palantir, right? Their earnings are not going to be that bad to hit $2. Now, would you be down a lot of money? Yes, but that means Palantir is down like what, 50%, 60%, 70%? Palantir would be down like close to 97% or something, which means Bitcoin's not going to be at 38,000. SPY is not going to be at 460. I mean, we would be in a legitimate .com bubble crash. Could that happen? It's very unlikely, just given everything that's going on, for it to be that bad, given it's already this bad. I mean, for us to go that bad, it just seems unlikely, especially when we're raising interest rates to combat inflation. Raising interest rates is not to crash the economy to Palantir to get to $2. Raising interest rates is to hone down inflation, to make sure the market is flat, to make sure the market goes down a little bit more, but not to the point where the market disseminates. Along with the fact that there's millions of jobs that are still being looking for, like the economy's still growing, people still want to be able to buy goods and services. Like you have to take in a lot of things into account before you just assume Palantir could drop that badly. I think my main concern with Palantir is the assumption that they will remain unrivaled technology-wise. Well, I think they are. I mean, I did a video on Apollo yesterday, and if you just look at that video, other companies are not doing what Palantir is doing. So that would be my thing. Maybe we all need it to go to zero. I think we all need the market to go lower, but not to zero, right? So that's why I'm like, if Palantir goes to $7, $8, that's not it. Like, it's not the most concerning thing in the world for me. All right, what time is the Fed meeting? I believe 2 p.m. I believe that's when it is. I will not be live streaming it. I think Kevin will be, so you guys can check it out. I just have some work to get done today. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me for another market open. I appreciate it. 138 people means the absolute world to me. Recommend any other knickknacks you guys want to see here. We're going to definitely get a bunch of them soon over the next couple of days. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you guys have a great day. Wednesday, middle of the week, still time to get stuff done. I will see you guys in some future videos. I have a video dropping at 11 a.m. about what I expect the Fed to be doing in this FOMC meeting, so you guys can check it out. And I will see you tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.